always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Rev Media in partnership with TSN, it is Season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons kicking off the season with a brand new holiday meal available now through December 30th. Hey, when you order any flatbread pizza plus your choice of a select side and a small or medium hot or cold beverage, you will walk away with a free pair of novelty holiday socks. So whether you're craving something cozy or something festive, it's a holiday meal that will warm you from head to toe. Get it, Ray?
Maybe.
Novelty socks.
I got it.
Warming your toes.
It.
You get it? You get it?
I do. I'd like some of those socks. I really would.
Well, I'm going to stop by my local Tim Hortons. I mean, I do almost on a daily basis, but whether it's today or at some point in the next 3-4 days, before our next podcast, I'm going to get my hands on a pair of those novelty socks. That's what I'm
there you go. Attaboy.
How are you?
Like it. I'm good. I'm in Anaheim. Did the Canucks game last night against Anaheim. Going up to San Jose today. Yeah. They play there tomorrow. Going to watch some football and get to the hotel. And today, happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to everyone in the United States that celebrates. Hope you guys all have a good day and a day with family and friends, and then finish a trip in Los Angeles. So 5 days out here in California. Kind of a nice little warmth blast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Canucks coming up in headlines in just a moment, but we have a little bit of HR cleanup to get done under the umbrella of Rev Media. Okay.
Oh, we do.
Now, we had talked openly on Tuesday about getting our good buddy James Duthie on the podcast early next week, our next episode next week, to talk about his new book, Certified Beauties. Right? It's been hanging. Or been sitting on my shelf for, let's get a good look at that thing. I mean, I've just thumbed through it. I mean, story after story. I mean, terrific stuff. James is a character. There's no doubt about that. But how he gets these people to recall vividly and in such detail these stories is tremendous. So it is, whether it's a stocking stuffer or a Christmas gift, a holiday gift, whatever, tremendous. But we're not going to have James Duthie on the podcast.
Why not?
Early next week.
Why not?
Well, as part of the conversation on Tuesday, pre-recording of Ray and Dregs.
Yeah, but we're going to have him on next week.
Yeah, we've
got him on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the president of Rev Media, I think that's what he is, Ryan Rishaug, participated in the conversation and the discussion on having Duthie on. Then I do Strutty's World, right? Yesterday being Wednesday.
Yeah.
And Zuby and Strutty are promoting James Duthie coming up in the next episode of Got Your Back. That wasn't brought up. Was that brought up on Tuesday, Ray? Do you remember Ryan Rishaug saying, hey, you guys, you need to have him the week before Christmas.
Right.
We've got him coming up this week. Do you remember that? Because I don't.
No, that was not said. No, at no point. What we heard from the president of Rev Media is what we should hear right now. Crickets, nothing.
I can't.
However, I can hear him. I hear him chirping in the background there. Meep. So,
but I want to. Can I defend myself, or do I just
15 seconds? We'll give you 15 seconds. We don't have time.
You're putting me in a difficult spot because in order to defend myself, I need to expose the fact that I said, "Are we going to have James on the show to promote his book, Certified Beauties, available in all bookstores?" And you said, no chance, Lance, I believe, were the words you used.
That was a month ago I said that. We revisited it, and we agreed on Tuesday we would have him on early next week.
I don't know why I'm having James on. The last text I got from him was, I would have put a story from you in the first book like I did for Bob and Dregs, but the publisher just didn't think there was enough name recognition. So you guys can have him on your show. You can have him.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hang on. I'm going to just throw a little bit of tidbit into that. In the first book, there was that I had a story in there too, but he doesn't add it into mine. You can have him. Piss off.
Nobody
Duffy.
wants him. Yeah.
Nobody wants him. He should go. He should go talk to a lamppost. Maybe that guy can interview him.
We've spent 5 minutes talking about certified beauties. So there's his Rand Dregs plug. And maybe we'll revisit the idea of having him actually on the show in 2026. Does that make sense, Ray?
I think so. I would support any book from a guy that was at one time in his heyday one of the best flag football players in Division 4 in Ottawa till he pulled his hamstring and couldn't play.
All right. Well, look forward to the next episode of Got Your Back with Ryan Rashog. Strudwick is on there. Zuby comes in. And, of course, James Duthie as the featured guest.
8:15 across all our social channels. See you guys. Bye. 8:15 Mountain Time tonight.
All right. Headlines, Raymond, brought to us by the Canadian Brew House. Hey, hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Catch every game with beer specials, game day prizes, so much more, all at the best hockey house in town. See in-store at thecanadianbrewhouse.com for details on what your local brew house is up to all hockey season. All right, as we teased, because you're in Anaheim, the Vancouver Canucks stirring things up this week, trying to get ahead of the field by advertising their interest in trading their pending unrestricted free agents for younger players. We'll get to that in just a minute, okay? Amid a wall of injury adversity, including both goalies sidelined, Nikita Tolopilo, is that how
That's it? Oh, yeah.
37 saves to open that road trip in Anaheim for the Vancouver Canucks in a 5-4 win. So amid all that's going on, this guy comes up and he goes, I feel like I could have played better. That was his response post-game. I mean, it's a nice story for a team that needs more of it.
They do. They had called him up on the weekend, so he was going to join the team on this trip. And then Kevin Lankinen is not on the trip. He's got a personal matter he's dealing with, so he's back in Vancouver. Now, Thatcher Demko's already hurt. So what was going to be, in theory, the backbone of the Canucks team, Lankinen and Demko, they're both out. So Tolopilo was supposed to be the backup to Lankinen this trip. Then Lankinen's not available, so they call up Yuri Patera again, who they just sent down. And though these are your two goalies, Tolopilo is one of these new wave 6'8" giants that plays goal. And last night's game, I'm telling you, to anyone that's listening, if you have not seen the Anaheim Ducks play live and they come to your city, go watch them. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's like they're the most wide open. I'm sure Joel Quenneville in his hair can't get any whiter, but they just push those guys out and they just go play. Like in the game last night, combined at both ends, I'm not sure if it was 7. I think it was 7 goalposts or crossbars. There was at least half a dozen breakaways, including Vancouver had a 2-on-0 shorthanded breakaway that Kiefer Sherwood hit the post on. It was wild. It was so much fun. But that's how they play. Like Cutter Gauthier's got 14 goals. Leo Carlson's a star. Man, that guy's so good.
So good.
Beckett Seneca. I'd never seen him play live before. He's 19. He's tremendous. Jackson Lacombe is an unbelievable player. Plays 26 minutes a game. They're a really fun, super talented team, and they're big. It's clear the game has changed, to bigger guys that are more talented. Washington has 3 or 4 guys just outside the NHL forwards that are 6'5". Yeah. Anaheim's got these monsters right now, and they drafted Roger McQueen, number 10 last year. He's 6'5". Like the game is like, it's going to be so challenging for smaller guys, because it's not that the other guys are bigger. It's they're bigger and great. It's really, really impressive to watch.
So how much credit does Joel Quenneville deserve in all of this? I mean, you've itemized the talent pool in Anaheim, and obviously there's a lot of things that have gone right, somewhat unexpectedly, I think is fair.
Oh, for sure.
From a league perspective. But how much does Coach Q deserve in the credit of this turnaround?
Well, he would tell you. I'm going to say he deserves some for sure, but he would tell you that the team was in a good place for him to come in. So
Yeah.
2 years ago they had 59 points. Last year they had 80. They make the change from Greg Cronin to Joel, and they've added some veterans that kind of fill in around the edges of these younger guys like Alex Killorn and Radko Gudas can still kind of terrify people out there.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
geez, man, I would know where that guy is every step of the day. Like, he just, once a game, he steps up on somebody and you go, oh boy.
Yeah.
Ryan Strome is there. They've got a good group, but what Joel does is he's super direct. Everybody understands exactly what it is that they're supposed to do, but he's also got a way he loves offense. And I didn't really ask him last night, but to me, it looks a little bit like when Chicago was starting to put some pieces together. If you remember when Joel took over there, it was just like run and gun. They had all those young guys, Kane and Taves and Sharp and Keith and Seabrook and Versteeg, and like you go through their list. And at some point, they started to tighten the screws a little bit to be a better checking team. That'll come in Anaheim. My feel always is you build by getting skill first, and you fill around the skill with the grit and determination. And not to say the skill can't have grit, because obviously it can and it should. But I think you attack skill first, and then the rest of it later. And that looks like what Anaheim's on, what the road they're on.
All right, back to Vancouver, and clearly the Canucks need some help. They need to get healthy, but maybe help along the way. And clearly trying to do what they can do to remain competitive, if for no other reason, to help them in the uncertainty of Quinn Hughes, their captain's future. So we can all understand and appreciate all that. So you've got Sherwood, you've got Kane, you've got Teddy Bluger, who are their notable unrestricted free agent forwards. And doesn't this just reek of Patrick Allvin and Jimmy Rutherford doing normally what they do, annually what they do, and just getting it out there? If there's a fit, if there's a younger forward, it'd be great if there's a center available, but why not try and beat the rush so you don't feel it when you get into the second half or you get closer to the trade deadline?
I don't know how many times I've heard you say on insider trading or here, managers are frustrated. There's no moves to make. They'd like to make moves, but the league is so packed together. So the part of the quote that kind of get washed away, because it felt like initially that the observation was everybody's available.
Not true.
And Jim Rutherford said, let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. We're talking about moves that are obvious towards the deadline. We're just moving the timeline up. So the guys you mentioned, yes. I think anybody that's a little bit older, late 20s to early 30s would probably be in the discussions as well. The other part to this, as we will probably get into more trade talk, right, as time goes on, is you can't just ignore that people have trade protection. You can't say, "Oh yeah, well they'll get that guy to waive his trade protection." What if he doesn't want to?
Yeah.
Right? Like what if he doesn't?
Yeah.
And so it complicates things. And if you can do that on your side, you still got to get it to work on the other side. It's not as easy as people think and say. Why doesn't that team just go get a goalie? Why don't the Oilers go get a goalie?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that easy. They got cap problems. They've got asset questions they've got to have. And then you got to find the goalie you really like. You don't want to just bring in another guy to bring in another guy.
Yeah.
And that's not just for Edmonton. That's for anybody trying to make that deal.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Winnipeg in a funk, and that's the word that Scott Arniel, the head coach, used. That was last night, Wednesday night. They've lost 3 in a row. Wednesday versus the Capitals, I think, though, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a good example of what elite goaltending can do and what it means when you don't have it. In the sense, of course, that the Jets, we know, don't have Connor Hellebuyck to bail them out when they're not sharp. So it's not like Eric Comrie was bad. in that game. But there's probably 1 or 2 goals that the Caps scored that wouldn't beat Connor Hellebuyck.
Right.
And when the rest of the team isn't as crisp as they need to be, those are the ones that Hellebuyck historically would bail them out with.
One of the, I guess, theories that's out there all the time that I question or wonder about is when a game will happen, one guy is fantastic in goal, and the talk of the game is, well, that guy stole the game. But he's part of the team. He's allowed to do his job. But it becomes a story, right? Like Connor Hellebuyck just does his job. The fact that he's better than lots of people is a great thing for Winnipeg. If you have the best goalie, he's just part of your team. But in your position, you're better than the other guys. It's like, yeah, Mario Lemieux sometimes won a game because he was Mario Lemieux. That's just their advantage. And so for the Jets it doesn't become an excuse. You can use it as a crutch and say, yeah, when Connor comes back, we'll be a better team, because you will. But that's just part of your team. It's like any other injury, but to a very important guy, the guy that makes you part of what makes you an elite team.
Yeah.
And they don't have it. And so for 6 weeks, the funk they're in, or the stretch of the schedule they're in, however it is, they're on a, they get out on the road. Sometimes you lose your way a bit. Well, you're going to have to find a way to play a little tighter, maybe to protect your goalie a little bit more. Don't trade chances if that's what the problem is, whatever it might be. But your goalie is, goalie's like starting pitching in baseball. You don't really talk about it much unless you don't have it, and then it's all you talk about it. He's just part of the team, but damn, they need him.
Yeah. Parts of their offense has been sputtering, which is a problem, right?
Sure.
They were shut out the other night. You can't win if you don't score goals. And Arniel made a point of saying post-game after the loss to the Caps, hey, our top line is delivering, but we need more than that. It's pretty clear that they've got some work to get done there.
Dregs, that was, I think, probably a question mark, the question mark in Winnipeg. Was it past that top line? Were they going to get enough? Don't forget, Adam Lowry is just back 4 or 5 games, 6 games maybe, after hip surgery. His game will round into form. But, is Taves going to be able to produce? Are they going to get scoring beyond that top group of players? And they don't have Ehlers this year, and that will be something that will become a factor at some point. And if it doesn't work, then you're going to see the Jets probably trying to find some people to backfill behind that top line as well.
Yeah. Toronto Maple Leafs win in overtime in Columbus, 2-1. Matthews, Nyes, Nick Roy, they all returned from injury. Joe Woll was solid again, which is a blessing for the Maple Leafs, because there's just nothing but uncertainty with Anthony Stolarz. Not on the ice.
Oh.
Don't know when he's coming back, any of that. So the mystery of Stolarz is there, which is covered because Woll has been terrific. Matthews, Ray, played 24 minutes, 35 seconds, by far the most of any Leafs forward. And I guarantee you, Craig Berube looked at that game sheet after the game, went, I didn't mean to do that. He was like 3 minutes ahead of everyone else. But it's also an indication of a coach who's looking at Matthews. He's looking at Nyes. He's going to go, geez, did I miss them? And we need the 2 points. We've got to find a way to lock this down and get going again.
Yeah, he also looked at his bench and went, oh, boy, I got to put them out there again. Right? Like they clearly, right? Fair. Like that. That's obviously what happens. But first game back from injury, that is too much.
Yeah.
If you can't play and then one day you can play and you play almost half the game, you're really pushing the envelope a little bit. Nylander scores in overtime. The Woll question is really interesting that he's answering right now. Is him and Stolarz feel like they're tandem goalies.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're 55 game guys. And right now, that's what Stolarz did at the start of the year. And at some point he got hurt. And that's what, Woll's playing every game right now. They don't, who's going to play behind him? Right. And when are you going to give them that day? Now they get a day. The league gets a day off for Thanksgiving. And then I guess he goes back again on the weekend. But you're going to get jammed up, and you're going to have to play other people at some point, whether it's Hellebuyck or not. And if Stolarz isn't skating, then for goalies, you're 10 days away at best, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes a conundrum in a hurry for them.
You know, I want your thought on this. So I think it was on the weekend. I'm just having this exchange with Craig Berube. And, you know, it felt like Toronto was spiraling into a real low.
Yeah.
And Berube said, look, as a coaching staff, we need to do a better job of inspiring these guys to play the right way. And the reason that I bring this up is because he made a couple of comments, including one post-game last night, but earlier this week, during practice, after practice, where the glass is half full, right? We have to view it like this. The glass is half full. And then he explained what that meant. And then post-game, you know, he's clapping and fist pumping and just, you know, recognize how big the 2 points is, but saying, way to grind it out. That's the way we got to play in tight, tough games like this. You guys found a way to grind it out. Is that what he's doing? Is that what they're doing as a staff, trying to coach up? Because the negativity around this group has been just growing and growing game by game.
Well, it depends. Yes, I mean, that's what he's doing, but you try to change the air with a little more enthusiasm, a little more fun. You know, he used inspiration as his word. Like, it's so easy to see when you're not in it, that when a team is, when the air is heavy, like when everything just feels like they're grinding to get on the plane, get off the plane, get on the bus, everything is a grind and nothing seems to work. Nothing's smooth.
Yeah.
It might not be the case, but that's what it feels like. But when you're outside it, you go, well, man, it's a pretty good job, and you've got you travel pretty well, you stay in great hotel, like, just go play, just relax. But it's not that easy. And so part of the job is to try and make it feel like it's easier for the guys, or that you recognize what efforts have paid off for them, so that maybe that can become a habit.
Yeah.
Right? Habits can be good or bad. And that's a chore for, you know, like, we didn't have so many people in our ear when we played. Like, our agents weren't probably as involved as the guys are today. We didn't have specialized skills coaches that work with the players outside of the team like they do now. So there's somebody else, you know, chirping in your ear. Pretty soon you got 4 or 5 ideas, because there's a couple of coaches that are telling you as well. And pretty soon you got 4 or 5 ideas in your head when you're just trying to play. And it gets complicated. It gets harder than it should be. And I think, you know, they're trying to do what a lot of teams do when their teams hit the skids. And that's make it easier, make it lighter. And because there's not a lot of joy in Mudville right now, that's for sure.
And Edmonton is Mudville after Tuesday.
I wasn't going to say that, but I wasn't thinking that, but that was something. I mean, like, right from the first goal of the game, they got 4 guys behind the net, or 3 guys behind the net, and all of a sudden the puck pops out and it's in the net, and you're like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Like, they're fooling themselves for if the thought of they're working hard and smart enough.
Yeah.
Like, they just aren't. And it's not on the offensive end of the ice. It's just run your routes defensively, do your own job. Like, I noticed this with Vancouver last night doing the game, is part of their defensive issue is that everybody sees the issue, and now I'm trying to help you. And as soon as I go to try to help you, the puck pops past me and it goes to the place I'm supposed to be. And that's, like, I see that with Edmonton. It's like their formula, you know, we call it structure, but their formula to play is out the window. Everybody's running around trying to do the next guy's job because everybody feels it. Everybody, like, don't buy into this bullshit that people don't care. It's embarrassing, and the guys care. They want to fix it, but they don't know how to fix it. Even though the coaches are trying to coach, and then the game happens and nothing is predictable. But what is predictable, if you do your own job, you're probably going to be better off. But it's not that easy to just, you see the breakdown and you're like, I should go help. And when you're going bad, as soon as you go help, the puck goes right through your feet to the place you're supposed to be. Happens all the time.
As that first period was absolutely unraveling. I'm watching Chris Knobloch and I'm like, whew. In a pregame interview with Gene Principe, he made a point of acknowledging that they'd made an adjustment. There was a system change, and they were excited about how that was going to look against a really good Dallas team. And then you're watching this debacle in the first period, and you're like, well, whatever structural change you made, they didn't buy in because it's out the window now. Do you have to be more specific as a coach if you're lobbing out, hey, we made a structural change, look for this, if you're going to throw that into the media?
No, because if I'm telling the media, if I'm the coach, then why don't I might as well just go hand it over to the Dallas team, because they'll see it as well.
Fair. Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody wants detail, but some things you just have to take in the general sense. Yeah. And you can't be like, you're not going to say if your power play is struggling, but what we're going to try and do is walk the line, work it back to the original side, go down to the goal. Like, you can't do that.
No, but I was just surprised he made a point of saying that they had made some adjustments to their structure. I guess it's just pretty obvious.
Trying to put the fire out, right? Like it's and just try to get, it's almost like like a sleight of hand trick. No, see, we did do something different, and then that gives somebody something to focus on. The problem was it couldn't have played out any worse.
No,
like that was. That the first period, I look, it's almost like I checked my app yesterday as we're getting ready in Vancouver or to do the game in Anaheim. I'm like, what the hell happened at Calgary? It was 4-0 in like 8 minutes into the game.
Pretty quick,
right? And you're like, what happened? Like same with the Edmonton game the other night. I'm like, they got 4 in the first period. It was, it's they got some big questions to try and solve there, because their team has bigger hopes than what some other teams have, and right now they're not even close.
No, it was one of those nights, right? And it's why you don't read too much, overanalyze this point of the regular season. The Rangers beat the Hurricanes. Okay, not shocking. I mean, the New York Rangers aren't a bad team. You look at the division standings; they're not that far behind Carolina. You have Nashville beating Detroit. I mean, that's more surprising. I would submit.
Sure.
But again, it's a reminder of where we're at in the regular season, between 22 and 25 games played. So you do have to take a breath every now and again. However, on the upside of all this, you've got the Stars we've just talked about, the Avalanche. Those two teams continue to roll. Tampa Bay has won 5 in a row. And we don't talk a lot about the Minnesota Wild, but we have to start again, right? Because this team is obviously back on track with winning their 6th in a row. And all systems seems to be firing again in Minnie.
Yeah. So first of all, if you look at the box score yesterday, there's going to be 2 players at least for Tampa in that roster, and you go, I don't know who they are.
Yes.
And they both scored yesterday in the first period. So like they've got all these guys that have been out long term, and they just keep cycling through, and they just, I don't know, 5 in a row again. So they're fine, right? Like they're weathering a pretty big injury storm, and they'll get McDonough and Hedman back in early December, and I'm sure that probably can't come soon enough for them.
Yeah,
Minnie had kind of stumbled around early, and they had Zuccarello was injured, and one thing that really has helped spark their winning streak is Jesper Wallstedt has been unreal in goal. He's got 3 shutouts.
Yeah.
It's 6-0-2, I think. Did he play last night? I don't know if he did. He's 7-0-2. But he's been awesome for them. They score again. They're pesky. Every year they seem to find a sweet spot that makes them a look like a contender, and then they just can't quite get over the hump.
Yeah.
Right? Like And so they're looking like they're in one of those sweet spots right now. Colorado might never lose again. San Jose was on a really good run, and they said, "Oh, this will be a really good measuring stick for their young team to go into Colorado and see how it goes." And it's almost like the little kid in the cartoon that said, "I had a no-hitter till the big kids got out of school." And then Colorado throws a 6 spot up on them last night.
Yeah.
And 2 more points for McKinnon. Like they are just unbelievable. They're so good right now.
Yeah. But almost year by year, they're one of those teams. And I mean, you can look at their lack of playoff success the last couple of seasons and go, okay, well, they're not as dialed in as they need to be. But wire to wire in the regular season, at least for the last number of years, they are that team, aren't they? They just seem to click and get in sync, and nothing seems to fluster them. They might lose a game here or there, obviously, but whether it's, I don't know. I mean, they've got a great collection of leaders. They've got high-end talent. They're good defensively. Scott Wedgwood's been added to the long list for Team Canada with the possibility of being part of the Olympic trip. I mean, there's so many just terrific stories in Colorado.
Health has been a major issue for them over the last couple of years. They've and again, it does not become an excuse. It becomes a fact at a certain time. Their bottom 6 got wiped out, and they just basically had to rely on 6 or 7 players, and that just never works, no matter how great they are, and they're great players. But right now, you say they lose a game here and there. They've lost 1. It's Thanksgiving. They've lost 1 game in regulation. It is an amazing start. And for Jared Bednar, it must be really comforting to know you're putting these points in the bank. Your team is relatively healthy. You're rolling along. If you get to a point where the season gets really busy, you can pull back some minutes on some guys, and they're in a good spot. Like, these points are valuable now for the long run for many different reasons.
I think it was the Avalanche content group that put out a clip of Jared Bednar being asked the question, being U.S. Thanksgiving, who he'd want. And I think it was 3 questions, and I can't remember all 3, but one was, okay, you have to select one player from within your organization who you would trust and want to carve the turkey. And then
that's a good one.
One about who would you want to lead the conversation, and the other was like, who do you think is the most likely to help with dishes? I think those were the 3, and it was like the married guys, right? Like Landeskog for sure to carve the turkey, because chances are he can handle a knife because he's been in a kitchen and helping his kids with meals and whatnot. But for those who don't know Bednar, sometimes coaches, and he doesn't have a reason to be ornery because of the start that they've had to the year, but I guess you'd have to preempt a question like that and say, and I think the person who asked it said, I've cleared this question with PR, but good on him for embracing it and giving it some thought and going, let me think, because and no one would be surprised that Nate McKinnon was nowhere near the carving of the turkey or any of that.
When Nate does that fast stick handling, could you not picture him carving a turkey like that? And there's like meat flying all over the burn. There's, it's just like, because he'd be in a hurry, because you got to eat it, because you got to.
You got to eat.
Bednar is one of my favorite guys. He gives, like, we've talked to him when they've not been going well, and he just he takes a half a second, he thinks about an answer, he gives you really good stuff. He's as open as he can be. I don't know. I have a great admiration for what he's done in his coaching career, because if you go back to when he started, Patrick Waugh quit, and Bednar coached 1 year in the American League, and they said, okay, you're our coach, and he came in like 5 days before the season, and they got murdered that first year. Crushed. I think they had 52 points or something. And somehow he's survived that early part and become one of the game's better coaches. And now it doesn't hurt, of course. You got Makar and McKinnon there, and you run into trouble, and they can help you out.
Yeah.
But he is he's a good guy. He's a good guy to be around. He's a really good coach. They're lucky in Colorado. They've got him.
Yeah, they are. And he's John Cooper of the West. Like, I mean, Jared Bednar isn't going anywhere in a long, long time. And not
do you know the difference? You know the difference is two differences. One is that Bednar has the best hair of any coach. He's let it go long. I'm so
got the
envious.
flow, man. He's got
Does
the
he
flow.
ever?
Glenn Gulletson on line one, Ray. Glenn Gulletson on line one.
Gully's he's got a salad.
He does have that, and well coiffed Gully all the time. Why do I picture? I picture Bednar waking up in the morning and that thing's like a lion's mane, and Gully wakes up and it's perfect. Like it's just it doesn't. But the other thing I was going to say about the coach similarity is, so Cooper's a lawyer, and Bednar's a farmer. Yeah, and there's a lot of wisdom in between those two. There really is, and like Bednar gives you like the farmer's wisdom once in a while. I love it. And it's like, Coop gives you, he's pretty slick, and I think there's some similarities there for sure.
I have a great respect for all the coaches, all the hockey minds involved in Team USA and in Team Canada. But there are some question marks that you could ask moving forward here, right? Like, Paul Maurice of the Florida Panthers, always outside looking in, right? Why wouldn't you lean on Jared Bednar, for the big, and then look, time is coming with all of these guys, right? I mean, Canada and the United States are fortunate that, they more or less have the cream of the crop when it comes to filling out their benches.
I mean, there was already enough people on the bench. You can't add another one. Like, looks like a football team back there.
Yeah.
Right? They already got 5 guys back there, and the trainer's got to be jammed in the corner. There's no room for him. And
no. And in the meantime, you've got Pete DeBoer, who's living a life right now, right? Sure, he's on the unemployment line, getting paid by the Dallas Stars. He's getting hired again, but he's like, nah. Yeah, I want to be back on a bench, but I'm good till let's get through the Olympics. And he's traveling on Hockey Canada's dime, scouting everyone, going to Italy, and well, it's awesome. Good for him.
I know I've got the number wrong, but I think it's 34 or 35 straight years he was a head coach.
Yeah,
like right back to when he started in junior. Like, this is probably an amazing refresher for him. And part of the things that wore him down, that led to him getting let go in Dallas, I think this is a really good coach, and I think this break will do him a world of good. I really do.
All right, you've heard him kind of nattering in the sidelines. Ryan Rishaug, he's standing by.
Is he a book editor?
Riggs, anything?
Is he a book editor?
A
book agent?
Can barely finish full sentences. Those are the headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brew House. It is time for Ask Ryan Driggs Anything. You can send us your thoughts, questions on X or Instagram at Ryan Driggs. I maybe Ryan doesn't want to join us. I think we've beaten him up today.
Oh,
Ryan, are you joining? Oh no, there he is. He can take it.
I got 3 brothers. This is nothing. This is the sandbox for me. This is nothing. You guys are so far from bullying me off this show. Yep.
Where were you in the pecking order?
Of the brothers?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, and then you're all going to make fun of me. I was right in the middle. I'm a middle child.
So you were getting it from the older guys.
Oh yeah.
And the younger guys were like, "Oh, look at the new toy over here," and then there's Ryan.
Who talks the most? Who talks the most of the 3 brothers?
Not even close. Not even close. But any one of us would win that in our families. That's why we do what we do. Ray, that was a great stat you pulled on DeBoer. I just called it up real quick. 95-96, the Detroit Whalers becomes an OHL head coach. And he is a head coach every flipping year without a break, all the way up until 24-25, 60, 50, 60, 80 games a season. Like, that man has been busy. That's a great point you made.
Yeah. And don't you think, like, when we get to talk to coaches and see them, and there's not too many days where they're just like so relaxed.
Yeah.
Like they're just like the stress level is there day after day. For 30 years he's had that. So
it's a lot.
This break will do. I think
How
it'll
many
refresh
years
him.
in that 30 years of coaching would you guess that he was not part of the playoffs?
3.
Yeah, I was going to say 4, but not many.
It's 6. So he had a run with Florida and Jersey where he was 3 years in a row.
Right.
But other than that, man, it's just that man has coached. That's not even including the playoff total. So that's something. Okay, lots of great contributions. People are emailing us. People are hitting us up on Twitter. We really appreciate all the interaction with the show. We got a couple of different directions to go in here. This one comes to us from Kevin Medland. Says, hey guys, love the pod. My question is for Ray. I was just at the LA Kings in Ottawa game this past Saturday night. Great seats, 8 rows behind the Ottawa net. I could see Ray between the benches. Also noticed another person between the benches as well. He's speculating on Sam Cosentino maybe. My question is, does it get crowded or confusing there with another broadcast? You're doing this thing, while you're doing this thing, are you so zoned in with the headphones on, you don't really notice the other broadcaster doing his reporting because you're in there tight right next to another guy when you get dual between the bench broadcasts, Ray?
Yeah, it is a little tight. I do look at, I try not to look at his monitor because, whatever they're showing is different than what we're showing. Yeah. Like you can get yourself off target if you look too far around. Sam, by the way, it's the first time I've worked a game next to Sam. Hilarious. Because anytime the puck comes within 40 feet of the bench area, he's flying out of there. Like he's
no puck shy.
I slapped him at one time. I'm like, where are you going? Like the puck was in the corner where it couldn't have hit us if it was shot with a bazooka. There was like 3 pieces of glass between us. And he goes, yeah, I know. I guess Travis Green gives it to him all the time because Sammy's like bailing out of there. Now, this is not a place for bravery, I will say. Like you're not going to see much bravery from me there either. But Sammy was entertaining. I don't really. I usually use a one headset, like one earpiece. And if there's another guy beside me, I'll put the earpiece on that side because I don't want to hear him. And so the other side will be open. And that's kind of how I deal with it. You're kind of in your own little world there. As I've said, I just love it. I think it's the best place. Lots of guys don't like it, but I love it there.
How often for your pregame meal do you have an enormous bowl of chili when you know that maybe the person that you're standing beside in tight quarters, someone that
what's that etiquette?
Really
That's not protocol. All right, moving on. Nice contribution, Darren. Nice contribution.
Yeah, well, the answer is never. I don't eat before the game, so yeah, no, not. And that would be a
thing ever to say.
That would be a rather terrible spot to be in.
Joel Tarswell chimes in asking about Ovechkin. Hi, gents. Thank you for the great work on the podcast. I'm curious if you think there's any chance that Ovechkin sticks around long enough to make an attempt at 1,000 goals. There's been lots of talk about he wants to play in Russia, but surely the carrot of hitting 1,000 has to be pretty appealing. He's crossed that 900 mark. Dregsy,
no.
What do you think? No, done and done?
Well, I mean, how many years is the man going to play? What is he at? As we're recording, I think he's 908, right?
Yeah. 2 more seasons, maybe. Two.
Still, I mean, you're talking 40+ goals. I mean, the man is a legend, obviously iconic. Throw any adjective you want. I don't know. The way he plays the game, he's going to continue to score goals, but the gap in the number is too big for me.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that happens for the reason there is probably a pull for 1,000 goals, but at this point, so what? Like, you only got so many years of life, and he maybe wants to go home. His wife's from there, like they want to go home. We may not view that as a place that we want to live. Like I don't want to live there, but probably wants to live there.
Their home.
His family,
Yeah.
family's there. So, I totally get the thought of him going back home.
Me too.
Don in Minnesota. I was reading an article about a players-only meeting helping to turn the Wild season around. I wondered if those were something that were common back when you played, Ray, and what your role would have been in any of those meetings. How did you know when it was the right time to have one? And what happens when they don't work? Love the show. Watch it every week on the YouTube channel. That from Don in Minnesota.
They're not common. There really isn't a time or a need in most seasons to have one. They don't work more often than they do work, because sometimes you can talk a bunch of great ideas out and then you can't execute them, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, a meeting like that is called, and the leaders will speak. At some point, sometimes guys get a chance to speak. Other times it's just the leaders, like 2 or 3 guys, and then that's it. And someone will say, okay, let's get to practice. And like, it's really quiet after a meeting like that. Like, everybody's thinking about what's been said. Sometimes it's pretty pointed. Sometimes there's, most times if you're having a players only meeting, things are not going very well.
Did you ever say much?
Yeah. I think because it was, as I got older, sure, because it's my place to try and that's what you're supposed to have, some wisdom. You've been through all of this crap that we're going through once or 12 times in your career. And sometimes you point out, like, hey, I'm sitting here watching, like, when we change, and I'm the guy sitting on the bench and the guy in front of me takes 10 seconds to come to the bench. Like, do we not give a damn about anybody else? Like, so you can point it out. I think you have to make yourself part of it, right? Like, you can't talk from, I'm up here and everybody else is not doing it right. But I do think there's a value to it, because a lot of times, as much as the coaches want to be part of it all, there is a little bit of, those are the coaches and this is us.
Yeah.
And the us part has to figure some things out on their own.
And I would think that even though you try not to make it personal, there's no room for feelings either, right? I mean, you're not having the essence of that meeting is to clear the air and get back on track.
It's not an HR meeting.
Yeah.
It is
not like our HR meetings on this show, where Ray is definitely a contributor. He definitely contributes to these meetings.
Yeah, you stir up the sand, and then it, right. Like, come on.
Last one.
Like, Ryan does not. Ryan will stir up as we know, he'll stir up the item of conversation. Yeah. And then if it takes a left turn, it generally ends up back on Ryan's feet anyway. Yep. So that's kind of the way it goes.
Last one. This is a late entry this morning via DM on my X feed from Derek in St. Albert. Lots of talk about Binnington to Edmonton. Can you have the fellas discuss that possibility? Dregs, you can start that.
Yeah, I mean, a long shot at best. You can appreciate why the Edmonton fan base, maybe some media, would connect the dots. Here's my theory on this, and I have investigated to some degree. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I think it's a long shot at best. Binnington hasn't had a very good year. Would he be an upgrade? Yeah, based on his resume, he'd be an upgrade, and he's a champion, so that matters. 4 Nations, all of that. I like the resume. I feel like if you're Stan Bowman, even though your job is to improve the roster of the Edmonton Oilers, you're probably looking at Broberg and Holloway in St. Louis and going, yeah, we missed on that. We screwed that up. So I am not going to lose another one to the St. Louis Blues. And I know that sounds selfish and a little bit ridiculous, but I think that there's some theory to that. I do. So he'd have to be the answer. Not maybe. He'd have to be the answer for me, for Edmonton, to make that deal.
You know what's funny is I never thought of that. I I guess it's it's a legit thought, right? But in Edmonton, I've seen it written about back when they went to the finals. It's almost 20 years, but they picked up Dwayne Rollison, and it was almost an afterthought trade, if I'm remembering correctly, and it turned everything. He was brilliant for them. Yet it doesn't feel like Edmonton could make an attempt at a goalie like that. Like it has to be somebody that changes the narrative, not somebody that has a bunch of, well, I don't know, maybe, because that's what Roley had. There was nobody really, they're like, well, they needed a goalie, and he comes in, and I think he'll be fine. And he kicked it out of the park. He was amazing. Yeah. So I do think the target has to be higher, but you can say that. How many targets are there? Like,
not many.
I read Tristan Jarry. He's had a nice little bounce back this year since March of last year when he came back from the minors, when he got waived. He's been much, much better. Like, not even comparable. But is that a deal you make? He makes $5 million.
Yeah.
What do you have for assets to go get him? That becomes an issue too.
Yeah. And Kyle Dubas isn't giving Tristan Jarry away. He's just not.
No.
And there's been an acknowledgement that we don't love the idea of trading him. Would we listen to offers? Of course. I mean, that's literally what you do as a GM. So again, if Bowman thinks that Tristan Jarry is an upgrade in what he has, then Pittsburgh isn't giving him away. So Stan needs to come up with an offer that fits what Pittsburgh needs.
Well, he's got 7 career playoff games too, I think, guys. Jarry?
Yeah.
Jarry? Yeah, there's not a lot there. I'll leave this thought. There was a point where Colorado last year was like, man, our goaltending is just not good enough. And in 10 days, they swung 2 trades. Like, I don't remember a team turning the page as completely on their goaltending as Colorado did then. And if you think about it, whether it's Binnington or Jarry or somebody else, Skinner's got to be going the other way, right? Like that, it kind of has to be.
Yeah.
And so now you're with a guy that you know less, and Calvin Pickard. Like, is that a place you're going to be, or is there a second deal? Like, is this view that, man, beyond all else, we've got to change our goaltending? If that becomes the management view, then it becomes even more complicated.
Yeah. And chances are, whatever the change is, it's not going to cost you $3.6 million like their goaltenders currently combined.
Yes,
exactly.
I think that's something to be kept in mind as well. All right. That was Ask Ray and Dregs. We appreciate all the contributions. Keep an eye out on X, where you can hit us up when we put out the call for more questions, or you can email us at rayanddregspodcast@gmail.com. I feel I've spoken more than my share in this show, so Agreed. I'm going to quietly exit while you do the Tim Hortons Challenge standings, guys.
Oh, why are you leaving for that? Bye, Ryan.
Let's bring in Zuby. Chris Simuni is going to join us, as he does every week, twice a week, in fact, on the Rain Dregs Hockey podcast, to bring us fully up to speed here on the Tim's Hockey Challenge. I feel like I'm just kind of waiting. I need a big night, Zuby, and it's not obviously no games on the schedule in honor of and recognition of U.S. Thanksgiving, but I'm looking forward to Friday's selections. I feel like I'm due for a big night.
Yeah, and kind of an interesting 2 days for us here, because, of course, on Tuesday there was only one game. And, hey, let me tell you, if you loaded up on Dallas Stars, you probably did pretty well that night. And that was Ray, actually. Ray was the big winner on Tuesday night. He got 2 correct. He's still in second place, but, man, is it close. Dregs got 1. Jason Robertson, I believe you had, Dregs. You're at 15 out of 39, 375 points. Ray right there after getting 2, Robertson and Rupe Hintz. 14 out of 39, 350. So he's knocking on the door. Schauger did get 1, so the streak is gone there.
Good.
He's up to 8 for 39, 200 points. I had Mr. Rupe as well, and I'm up to 44 total correct for 29%. We'll make it a quick update, and I just want to say I've got shout out to Les Nessman and Arthur Carlson. I've got my WKRP Turkey Drop t-shirt on.
God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly.
They're hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement.
I just rewatched the clip the other day, and I howled. I thought that's a great
Is
thing.
it just
Never gets old.
you know what is an underrated part of that clip is when Les is describing the turkeys coming out of the plane, and they go back to the studio, and the other characters are sitting there, and they're like, and he goes, "What is it saying on the banner? WK?" And they're all trying
like,
to prod
"Let's
him
go."
along.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh
So
my
good.
God, that's good.
It's a great clip. If you haven't seen it, WKRP Turkey, and you'll find it. It's great.
Yeah, you'll find it quickly. All right, Zooby, anything else?
No, let's that'll be
Hey,
fun.
buddy.
Everyone listening and watching on the stream, get in there and make your picks for Friday.
Yeah.
A few games back on the docket, and you got anyone you're watching?
No, I haven't even looked at it, to be fair.
What,
I don't think
for the
we
football?
can until tomorrow. I don't think we can. I don't
for
think it opens
tomorrow?
until
No,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
no. There's nothing up on the schedule. I am a good day of football watching today though, and since there's nothing to pick, I'll just sit and watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah,
Sounds
just
good.
channel flip,
You
right?
bet.
Same.
Zuby, have
All
a
right,
good one.
Zuby.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.
All right. Okay, Anaheim, and then where are you off to?
Up to San Jose. Looking forward to watch. So we got watched all these young kids in Anaheim. We'll see Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and their crew of young guys up in San Jose. That's Friday. Then into LA on Saturday. And
Good deal.
it's funny, it's like wide open team, and then the Kings. And so those will be three different games for sure.
Screeching halt right there.
Yes, exactly. So what about you? Everything just at home, right? Easy day today?
Yeah, just at
nothing to
home.
do? Yep.
No, Holly Dreger is coming back from her Western excursion tonight. So being Thursday, head to the airport, pick her up. We've got our Leafs regional game, Leafs Caps on Friday, and then pretty quiet weekend. So
Awesome.
planned.
Enjoy
I like those. Okay,
Enjoy it. Have a good one. Everybody, happy Thanksgiving in the U.S. Have
Yes.
a great day. Say hi to your loved ones, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
You bet. And thank you to our sponsors, Ray, who continue to support the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. Our title sponsor, Tim Hortons, thank you. Canadian Brew House, thank you as well. Have a safe and happy holiday weekend, everybody.